Welcome to the Dissent Agenda. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Cody. We're just two loudmouths with Wi-Fi, a mic, and zero tolerance for bad politics.
Every week, we dig through the dumpster fire that is national politics, so you don't have to. From clown car congressional hearings to billionaires cosplaying as patriots, we call it out and call it what it is.
Then we bring it home, literally. Stick around for our Locals Only segment where we spill the tea about what's going on right here in Virginia Beach.
Because what happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. It shows up at our school board, our city council, and on our grocery bill. This is the Dissent Agenda. Let's get into it.
Recording?
We are recording.
We're recording. Welcome back to the Dissent Agenda. I know it's been a couple weeks actually since we've done an episode. There's just been so much going on.
Yeah. The political world is popping right now.
Yes.
So many things. Election coming up. Early voting has started. The federal government is just descending into chaos.
It feels like there's a lot of descending into chaos across American society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have my little notebook ready. Yeah. I took some notes about some things we could talk about. But good news if anybody's following my Sharky's journey. If you follow me on social media, Tattoo Maven. My Sharky is home and she had back surgery. She had some herniated discs, but still not walking, but she's learning how to drag her little legs around and kind of, she's not really supposed to get too much. We work with her a little bit to do some rehab, but so Sharky is doing so much better.
Progressing. That's good.
Yes. Which is making me like so happy. So, some things have happened.
The elephant in the room.
Can we just rip the Band-Aid off? Just rip
Charlie
it off.
Kirk got shot.
Charlie Kirk got shot. Yeah.
And there are a lot of big feelings about that in a lot of places.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. Especially, I think you and I, we saw each other the day after it happened.
I think so. Something.
And I just looked at you and I was like, Cody, I think you and I might be the most famous leftists in the whole city of Virginia Beach.
Maybe.
Pretty sure.
Maybe.
About that. And that feeling when we talk about political violence, I had some feelings about it.
Yeah, I think it should be said, regardless of, I told you this when we first talked, just because you don't celebrate somebody's life doesn't mean you should be celebrating their death.
That's right.
And the truth is, regardless of where you're at on the political spectrum right now, Charlie Kirk's assassination was a tragedy.
Absolutely.
It was a tragedy for the life that was taken, but it's also a tragedy for the widening of the rift. It's been created in society.
Right. So much. I mean, the trauma to all the people who were present and witnessed what happened. And I don't support the death penalty. I just don't. I have not supported the death penalty. I don't think that, civilized society should essentially take the lives of others. And I feel that way about Charlie Kirk's death. It is, as you said, a tragedy. And certainly nobody deserves to die for the words that come out of their mouth.
No.
Doesn't mean we can't talk about the words that fell out of his mouth, but we are not going to say that anybody should be put to death because of the words that are coming out of their mouth.
Violence is not the answer. And for anybody that thinks violence is the answer, literally violence is the proof that you couldn't find the answer.
Right.
That's what violence is. Violence is the factual evidence that you were unable to find the answer.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, this country's founded on political violence. The Revolutionary War.
A lot of human history is violence.
Yeah, it's violence. Yeah.
But that being said, acknowledging that doesn't invalidate the pursuit of overcoming that.
Correct. Right. And trying, as a society, I hope we try to engage and learn from the past. And we want to move forward, right, and become better people. That's my goal.
We want to.
We want to.
And and I know that there's a lot of people out there, but there's also a lot of people, including our leadership, that don't. They want to use this to
divide
as a weapon.
Yeah, they literally are weaponizing
they want to use
Yep.
this event as a weapon, and and it's working.
Right. And there is a word that I'm hearing a lot, and I'm seeing it on social media, and I'm hearing it in discourse, and it's demons. Right?
Demons.
Demon. And I democrat or just demons. And I've heard this from political leadership. I've heard this from people on the street. Yesterday at early voting, I was called a demon 7 times by somebody else that was working early voting and was on the opposing side of an issue. And he didn't like something that I had to say, and therefore he cast me as a demon. And that dehumanization that we've talked about is exactly the problem. I didn't say anything that dehumanized him anyway. He said something terrible, which was when referring to a couple voters that happened to be Black women, that he said that their support of the 10-1 voting system was they were too dumb to know it was keeping them on the plantation. Now, I mean, that's racist as fuck. Okay. But me calling him out for using that language and saying that out loud caused him to call me a demon.
Well, and that's what you're seeing now is if you disagree, you're a demon or a terrorist.
Oh, wow, a terrorist. Yeah.
That's a big thing that's happening right now. Trump wants to declare Antifa
right,
a domestic terrorist organization, which is
though there's literally
no organization. But the scary part of that is there being no organization basically opens up the capability to then just target anybody.
Correct.
You can just be labeled Antifa.
I legitimately have a sweater or a sweatshirt that says Antifa in Barbie letters. I mean, because it's hilarious.
Yeah, you could just
like literally somebody could take my life because I'm wearing an Antifa shirt or a sweatshirt that's in Barbie font and it's pink. And hilarious.
And it's also just wild to be living in a country where anti-fascists are the terrorists.
Wild work. How that has gotten flipped upside down and on our heads, that we're anti-fascist. And fascism doesn't require genocide. I need that to be
no. So and
that's kind of the problem, right? Is they're like, stop saying fascist because we're not putting anybody in. I'm sorry, chambers and concentration camps. Well, yeah, I would argue we are.
What people need to understand that it didn't start there.
It didn't start there.
Fascism was not automatically just everybody got rounded up on became fascist on Monday. Everybody got rounded up in a Tuesday and were at concentration camps. No,
slow creep.
People only seem to want to acknowledge advanced
stages of
advanced stage fascism is fascism, but fledgling fascism is still fascism.
I mean,
the beginnings of fascism is still fascism. That's how you end up in late stage fascism. And so when we attack people for standing up against early stage fascism, that's how we allow late stage fascism to happen in our society.
Because the people who are calling us demons right now and are not understanding that we're in fascism because it's their favorite team, because they look at this as a team sport. This is my life. This isn't a team sport. And so when fascism takes hold for real, like late stage, they're not going to be excluded.
No, it's too late.
Only
and
the
too dangerous.
wealthy. Only the very wealthy, frankly, very white, because that is exactly what they're trying to do. Majority is what they will be. Well, really, they'll be a minority, but they will have all the control and all the power. And that is what they're trying to do. And we're seeing that, the use of Charlie Kirk's assassination in trying to say that anybody who just says even the truth is talking ill of this person, and therefore you deserve to die. I mean,
you must have been an accomplice,
right? I mean,
you're a terrorist. You're promoting
you're celebrating. Nobody is celebrating. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I definitely have seen some posts where people have said some things. I just, and that's their right. Like, that's literally, like, this is America. Okay. This is America. And we believe in, it's the First Amendment for a reason, which is our freedom of speech.
Yeah, and it's clear that conservatives believe in cancel culture just as
much as it's very clear. Very clear
as the left wing does, because it just depends on which side of the insult you're apparently on.
That's correct.
And so that's not something that's unique to any particular party, despite what people want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing, the Jimmy Kimmel show getting canceled. That was a big deal. Not that hasn't happened before. I mean, that happened to Tucker Carlson, but a big difference right now is the FCC, the federal agencies' involvement.
Yeah.
And
they said, I can make it literally like a parent. Talk about authoritarian. Like, when we talk about authoritarianism, it's the same as authoritarian style parenting, right? Your authoritarian style parent says no because I said so. Oh my God, the other parenting styles. Oh my God, you've got passive and you've got oh my gosh. And
gentle parenting?
No.
What's the parenting style you're talking about?
Authoritative. Authoritative. I'm an authoritative parent, right? So I will say no, but I'm going to explain to my kids why. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have a good reason. And if my kids question my reasons, I'm not going to say because I said so. I'm going to then explain till they understand the why, right? Authoritarian parenting. There's same deal right here. Okay. When a famous words of the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, says, we can make this easy or we can make this hard. I mean, that's literally what he said.
Yeah.
Like a authoritarian parent.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing is, if somebody gets fired because of something they said, that's not new.
No.
That's not new. No. And that's also not even fascism. That's a private company deciding to make a decision, and you can be upset about it, and you think it's not fair, and you can disagree with that, that's and all right. Of that's valid.
Yep.
But it's still just a private entity making an employment decision. Mm-hmm. When the government becomes involved in telling private entities what employment decisions they should make, correct, that's a problem. Right. That's more than you should just be upset about this. That's more than whether or not it's fair. That is what fascism is. Correct.
And Carr, a couple years ago, said the exact opposite of what he's saying today. Before he was in his position of power, right? He didn't agree with FCC's involvement in programming. And the FCC doesn't have involvement in programming. The FCC is there to essentially, it's antitrust and monopoly. They basically are regulating, for example, and this is why this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing is really important, is because next tag or I can't remember. It's like Tegna and Nexstar or something. Anyways, these two really big companies are merging. And the FCC has a regulation that one entity cannot own 39% of the media, like, I guess, local news or local stations. So that is so that we don't have state-run media, y'all.
Yeah.
Literally, so we're not Russia, because Russia is literally all state-owned media. This merger that rolls up ABC into it and local stations, they're trying to merge. And the FCC is trying to lift the 39%, which means, y'all, we are one step closer to state-run media.
And there's even a lot of Republicans, several conservatives that are
very
upset about this, not because they love Jimmy Kimmel or anything that he said, but because they understand that this is and this is what I wish people would understand so much is once you open this gate, once you make this possible, anybody gets to use it.
Anybody
gets to use it. And so it doesn't even matter if you don't think Trump is a dictator or authoritarian or anything like that. If you don't think he is, it doesn't matter because who's the next guy going to be?
Right. Well, because they're living in this weird reality of like, okay, this is how I feel about it. You and I both, right? We're looking at this going, I don't think we can vote ourselves out of this. I think we're too far gone at this point. I'm not sure we're going to be able to vote ourselves out of this. I'm not really sure that we're going to have another presidential election. Now,
we may have it. I'm just not sure how legitimate it is going to be.
Right, exactly. Okay. So what we have is we have people, conservatives, people on the right, that they're so invested in this one man, and they are just thinking, well, yeah, it's just a football game, right? Right. My team is winning right now. What do you crybabies? My team is winning right now. Your team will get a chance. See if you can do it. Right. Well, okay, cool. You're operating on the fact that we actually may have another back and forth situation because you're still in this fairy tale land that we're just two football teams that we're all fans of football teams and we're just all on the field and we're going to leave it on the field. No, this is people's lives. Rural hotels closing. Medicaid and Medicare cuts are starting to creep into people. I have a really good friend who is they go by medical mamas. Her children, she's already had one passed from mitochondrial disease, and she currently has a son who has mitochondrial disease, and she's stressing right now because she's been posting about these cuts from the federal government that are causing problems with their nursing care. And these moms are full-time caregivers for these children who are disabled. And so this is starting to impact literally everybody. And conservatives, it doesn't matter. These policies, they're not just hitting Democrats, they're hitting everyone. And so we're facing a situation where some of us are going, this is really bad. And those of the people on the conservative side that are living in this la la land.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't even matter if they feel it.
Right.
As long as they can blame it on somebody else.
Well, but we're never probably going to ever have another Democrat in power. And so how are they going to blame the fall of this country economically and from a civilization standpoint, how uncivilized we're going to become?
If they required some sort of logic or facts in order to blame somebody on somebody, then it would be blamed on the right place.
I know.
That's just something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's where we are. That is where we are today. I do just want to mention Crash Patel, our FBI director. He had to testify in front of Congress for like 2 days. And y'all, if y'all want some entertainment, just watch him crash out. And like, I also need to know what kind of drugs he's on. I watched a 30-second clip of him fiddling with a pen and paper while the person next to him was talking. And I just, between his bug eyes and his inability to sit still for 6 seconds, I need to know what kind of drugs he's on.
It was probably an upper.
It was definitely cocaine. Anyways, so yeah, he crashed out. So his new name is Crash Patel. And this is our FBI director who is saying that the Epstein files, they can't be released because of court orders, which actually is not true because we have judges on record saying, no, you have thousands of files. You can totally release them. But the funny thing is the Biden administration actually couldn't release them. Because, that's their talking point right now. Why didn't Biden do it? Why not Biden?
The same reason why you didn't immediately do it and you had to request it from the Justice Department and the judges.
Trial was still during.
Like you can't just do it.
Right, exactly. So during a large part of the Biden administration, Ghislaine Maxwell was on trial during some of that. So you can't just do it, but you would have to go through all that. And they weren't doing that. So, I mean, I think all of it should be released. I don't understand what the problem is. But Crash literally verify.
A lot of powerful people look bad. That's what the problem
yeah, it's
is.
true. A lot of powerful people look bad. And people are saying, but he's not even. Don't you think if he was in the files, the Biden administration? No, dummy. And also, Kash Patel, Mr. Crash himself, said he didn't know how many times Trump's name was in the files, which means
they're there at least once.
Trump's name's in the files. And then of course, this is the subject terrible. I don't want to talk about too long because I just think it's just disgusting where we're going with this. And it's personal to both of us, but Congressman Ronnie Jackson, who was the drug-fueled White House medical director unit under the first Trump administration, and who was found to be running that clinic improperly after dosing out fentanyl and all kinds of other sleep aids and things like that at a record level from the White House during the this is according to an inspector general's report. This isn't me making shit up, okay? But that disgusting human being who was feeding drugs to all of the Trump admin through the White House medical unit during Trump's first term, he came on the record and he's saying that transgender people need to be institutionalized, that they are a virus and a cancer, and that they need to be taken off of the streets and off of the internet.
Well, and there's reports that the FBI is considering, labeling trans people, trans activists. I was reading in a letter as nihilistic violent extremists.
Are you a nihilistic violent extremist?
Apparently would be to them.
Wow. I mean, I don't think that we're nihilistic violent extremists.
Well, and that's the thing, is because what we are is a threat to what they're trying to do.
Correct. Because they would just want trans bad. Believe me, fall in line and hate trans people. And we're not going to let you do that, because we're not going to allow you to dehumanize the people that we love, because they're not viruses. They're not a cancer.
They're not nihilistic, violent extremists. They're just people trying to live their lives like everybody else. And apparently we've just lost complete ability as a society to just let people live their lives. I've never, you see all of this, and there's religious pushes behind this. That's why you have, people being called demon and all of these sorts of things is to play on that part of people. What I remember most about going to church was being told to love one another.
Right.
Just flat out. And that has been completely left behind.
Correct.
Everything's Old Testament now. It's all eye for an eye, and everybody's going blind.
I mean, I would say nihilism. We should have a talk about nihilism, honestly, because what we're seeing with young men is very nihilistic. The black pillars, the Groyper, the black pillars. Okay. We're not red and blue anymore. We're black. And I thought a lot about this because of the, Kirk assassination. None of us are immune to the creep of nihilism, especially right now. And I find myself caring less and less. And that is certainly a problem we're having in our society, because we're not seeing effective change. And when you're not seeing change, then what's the purpose? What's your point?
It's just
right.
We're just building a bigger and bigger fire.
Right.
That's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a bigger and bigger fire. There were times, I remember times in my life where presidents and public officials would come together after a tragedy and try and be peacemakers.
Right. Yeah.
Haven't
seen that in a long time.
No, we've lost that in our leadership at almost all levels.
Yeah. Yep.
And a big reason why we've lost that is because they're being rewarded. People are just binging on anger and fear, and it's just so much easier to be mad at somebody else for what's going on. And the worst part about it is nobody, very few people, most people are not mad at, what was that, the one congressperson did this whole thing, but you're mad at the wrong 1%.
Oh, Tillerico. Yeah, you're mad at the wrong 1%.
You're mad at the wrong 1%. That is exactly what's going on right now. It is not a trans person or an immigrant or any person of color or women. Those aren't the reasons that the grocery store is so expensive.
They're not the reason for the gas prices going up.
They're not the reason for the gas prices going up.
Not the reason for inflation going up.
They're not the reason for inflation.
Not for our job loss has literally slowed to almost nothing.
No jobs.
The wrong 1%, y'all. The people that control the jobs, the food, the money. That's the 1% we should be focused on, and that not each other.
Yeah, and that 1%, that 1% is not. You see that influence in the Republican Party clearly. You see it in the Democratic Party.
At 1,000%.
At a lot of levels too. That's it's almost like they're up there playing puppet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Democrats are disappointment.
And our two-party system has made that super easy.
Yep.
And so it's certainly, it's difficult to it's difficult. I clearly can't support the Republican Party.
Right.
But supporting the Democratic Party is also, it's the only option.
Because it's about harm reduction, right?
It's about that's exactly right. Yeah. And that's what's so frustrating about it is it's about harm reduction. It's about the status quo. It's about let's just
appeasing people.
Let's just pull away from the edge a little bit. It's still super just people pleasing, but it's also not about hey, let's really, really, really help people.
Right. No.
It always stops short.
Yeah. And farmers are struggling right now. We talked about jobs. South Korea had that ice raid at that plant in Georgia, cost us 8,000 jobs. They've now, that raid happened just a few days after they had announced that they were going to do a $350 billion investment in the United States, a huge investment. That plant had 8,000 jobs. And now South Korea is actually investigating because ICE came in on that raid saying that there were visa violations, and there weren't visa violations. And they were actually there for 4 Mexican immigrants, and they ended up rounding up 400 people, majority South Korean people. And South Korea opened an investigation because of the humanitarian rights. They said that they were shackled, they were treated like violent criminals, and kept in very poor conditions. And now their policy, because they're just like, scoop up as many people a day as you can. And what's crazy is Biden was literally deporting more people than Trump is deporting now currently. And they're so frantic to deport people because they have this quota of deport 3,000 people per day. They're literally just scooping people up off the streets. But specifically, they went into this plant without a firm understanding because all they did was recruit a bunch of fucking bounty hunters to come work for fucking ICE, making $100,000 a year with a $40,000 fucking sign-on bonus and a $1,500 per head bonus.
And gave them the ability and leeway to just snatch up whoever doesn't look like they're supposed to be here, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. You got an accent, you speak in another language, like, let's scoop you up. So South Korea, they literally scooped up these 400 people. And South Korea, they're like, hey, you treated them horribly. So now we're going to do an investigation about basically human rights. So I mean, this is not, I just feel like even if you voted for, Republicans, like I mean, is this the America that we want?
Is this how you make jobs in America?
Right. Is this how you, right. How do you expect, like, the world is watching us and our tourism is down. Vegas, their tourism is down like 11%, which is huge.
Almost everything's, down. We're in the very early stages. We haven't gotten through year one yet. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've noticed, but prices aren't going down.
Nope.
I'm not all of a sudden saving bunches of money anywhere.
Nope.
We're not making any jobs.
Nope.
And you can argue that, the jobs report came out and the jobs Biden made were less. And that's great, but Biden's not the president anymore. So why aren't we making any jobs now?
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
And companies aren't investing. I mean, some places won't even, some countries aren't even shipping stuff out here.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
We're not building.
No.
Because it's way too expensive and it's hard to find workers. Mm-hmm. And that's affecting all sorts of industries. Yep. This is just the tip. Mm-hmm. This is just like the first spot of rot. Where are we going to look like? What are we going to look like in a year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From now, especially.
And it's going to trickle down to us faster than it used to. It used to, federal government stuff would trickle down like 3 years, after state stuff kind of starts to trickle down 12 to 18 months. And then your local stuff kind of hits you right away. But the federal stuff is starting to, we're facing a government shutdown at the end of this month, right?
We just got to the point where we're actually going to start feeling the tariffs. So everybody that's like, oh, stuff's still high. It hasn't started rising yet. No. We just got to the point where we're about to start feeling the tariffs and
the shipping costs.
The the ability to access certain items. But we're just got to the point where we're going to start feeling that across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then locally, we have our state elections, and we basically have, I look at the state like this. The governor is our president of the state, right? The House is our Congress.
The executive branch.
The legislative branch, right? Legislative branch.
State,
yeah. So, we've got state elections this year. Mm-hmm. We do not have any local except for our commissioner of revenue, our Commonwealth's attorney, and our sheriff. And oh my gosh, I have an update. I have an update. Okay, y'all. I don't know if you remember this. I think we talked about this on the podcast, how I did a 31 car parade around Jen Kagan's house back in February. I can't remember if we talked about this.
We didn't talk about it on this podcast.
We haven't talked about it on this podcast.
We've talked about it in Talking Transparency.
Okay. All right. So
check out that podcast.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll give a Reader's Digest version. In February, there was a protest at Jen Kagan's office in Town Center, and it was on a Sunday. And I was like, y'all, nobody's in this office working on Sunday. So we should go to Jen Kagan's house and do a car parade. So we taped all of our protest signs to the driver's or the passenger side of our car, because, I knew the path that we were going to take to go around. And we just did a honking parade around Congresswoman Jen Kagan's house. We did like 3 loops, enough to get some attention, make the neighbors mad. Well, apparently Congresswoman Kagan's, she was upset. So she called Commonwealth's attorney, Colin Stolley, who's the Virginia Beach Commonwealth's attorney, who, by the way, he passed the bar, but he never went to law school. Just so we're clear, he read law under his brother because, nepotism, right? And this is how all these powerful people who make $300,000 salaries as the Commonwealth's attorney and literally does nothing and is run unopposed for 12 fucking years. They have just nothing but time on their hands, right? To put me under legal investigation for breaking a 1975 picketing law, which I wanted adjudicated, just so we're all clear, because I wanted to know if a fucking car parade is breaking a picketing law. Because as far as I was concerned, picketing has to do with unions and outside your employers, and you're standing on sidewalks, which we did none of those things.
Too.
It was stationary, right? We didn't do any of those things. And it was like 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon. So it wasn't like 11 o'clock at night or anything. But I've been under this legal investigation that nothing has ever come from it. Like I've never, and I wanted to arrest me, put me in handcuffs. And I even said to legal investigator, I want you to turn around. It's a non-jailable offense right here. I'm reading it. It's up to a $500 fine. It's a non-jailable offense. I want you to go back to your boss and I want you to tell Colin Stolley he needs to come arrest me. He never did.
No, because it was more of a threat.
Of course it was a threat and intimidation, right?
Yeah.
So then Colin Stolley running for re-election for Kamala's attorney. Don't vote for him, by the way, to our listeners. Suzanne Richmond he finally has an opponent, and Suzanne Richmond is who we are supporting. And I walked right up to him at early voting yesterday.
Oh, he was there.
He was there. And I was like, hi, Colin Stolley. I didn't have to say my name. He knew exactly who I was. And I said, so am I still under legal investigation? Just the smile. Rocky, he's our sheriff, and he was running for sheriff, and he was out there, and he was like, "Oh God, Melissa, what are you gonna?" I said, "I'm gonna go ask Colin Stolley if I'm still under legal investigation," and he just threw up his hands and threw his head back and was like, "Oh no, Melissa," and I'm like, "Yes, I am." So he told me that apparently he sent it to a special prosecutor, and I guess I was supposed to get a letter from the special prosecutor. And I said, well, I didn't get the letter from the special prosecutor. And then I said, I was really hoping that we could get this adjudicated. And he said, oh, it's not going to be adjudicated. And I was like, huh, interesting. Okay. So I called Stafford County's Commonwealth Attorney's office and explained everything to somebody who answered their phone. Because I would like this letter that was supposedly sent to me. Yeah. And what I told her was basically, because she was having a very hard time understanding like what the fuck was going on. And like, I was trying to explain, like, I'm the person that they were supposed to be sending the letter to. And she was like, well, was this a criminal case? And I was like, well, I mean,
you don't know if it was that or just a threat.
I said, basically what this is one good old boy to another good old boy up in Stafford County. One good old boy decided he wanted to threaten me and not threaten, intimidate me. Thank you. Intimidate me. And he had one of his buddies supposedly send me a letter. And his buddy probably was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. Knowing full well, this is completely political and absolute horse shit. Right now, how I'm describing it, she was like, well, I can't really say on any, and I was like, oh, I know you can. I'm just saying that this is
record my
literally, this is literally a political hit job. Right. And so she was like, well, I'll definitely take, I gave her all my information. She's like, I'll definitely have somebody call you on Monday. And I was like, yes, ma'am, you should. And so I'm just waiting for this letter
from the special prosecutor.
To not adjudicate the case. I can't wait to see what that letter looks like. But anyways, this is the kind of local shit. Like when you're somebody that puts yourself out there like I do, okay? I know and understand that I am subjected to criticism, people doxing me, all of those things. And I'm not going to stop because I am who I am and I'm not doing anything wrong. And if you don't like the truth, well, suck it. I don't fucking know what else to tell you because that's all you're going to get from me. I don't have any reason to lie about anything. I just want the world to be a better place, right? Yeah. And I want our local people that run our government, like the Commonwealth Attorney, to not be a shady prick who just tries to intimidate political activists because it hurt your friend's feelings that I drove 31 cars around her house. I heard rumors that she said she was going to sell her house. She didn't feel safe. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, you are literally
sell your house and move somewhere else.
Sell your house and move somewhere else, bitch. You don't even have to live in this district to be the fucking congressperson here. That's how I feel about it. Virginia Beach would be a better place without Congresswoman Kagan's here any fucking way. So I will say that 10 toes down because that is my First Amendment right. I am a constituent. She does not assist me in any way. And had me investigated because she didn't like the fact that I knew where she lived because, hey, Jen, newsflash, maybe some of your neighbors don't fucking like you. And maybe that's how somebody shared your address because your neighbors don't like you, Jen. Anyway, I'm done shitting on Miss Kagan for now.
For now.
For now. Yeah. So, vote yes on 10-1.
Vote yes on 10-1.
I think we'll maybe
early voting is opened up.
Early voting's opened up.
You can go do that down here in Virginia Beach at Building 14.
It's Building 14. It's 2449 Princess Anne Road, Building 14. It's the voter registrar's office in Virginia Beach, down at the courthouse. You pull around and park in the parking lot behind the building, but when you're driving up, you'll see the big tent and you'll see signs that say curbside voting. So if you have a disability and you would like to vote from your car, there's no questions asked. You can pull up. You can say that you want to do curbside voting. We do want you to save that for those folks, though, that have disabilities and not just because you don't feel like getting out of your car. I just need to say that disclaimer. It is early voting for the next 6 weeks. 5 other locations will open up around the city the last week of October. So it's like October 25th. You'll be able to go to like Bayside Rec, Kempsville Rec, Great Neck Rec, MEO Library, and SeaTac Rec, plus Building 14. All of those locations will be early voting locations the week of October 25th. But for now, you can go on down and get your vote done. And guess what? That also gets you off of all these obnoxious political text
Stop
messages.
Getting text messages and phone calls.
Once they know you voted, they leave you the F alone. Okay. So if anything, in this world right now, maybe one less text message would be great, right?
One less text message.
So I don't know. I feel like we were just such a bummer.
Sometimes it's a bummer. I would say, if I'm going to end with anything tonight, it would be take the time to pay attention to what you're doing right now. Pay attention to what your motivations are. It's okay to have big feelings. Everybody's going to have big feelings about different things, but you really need to ask yourself on a human level. I don't care right or left or any of that sort of stuff, but ask yourself on a human level, are you dedicating your energy to trying to help people, like legitimately help people? Or are you focusing it all on just being pissed off at somebody?
And trying to harm someone. Yeah. I would love to, I love talking to conservatives, honestly. I am so open to having a cup of coffee, in a public place, obviously. And sitting down, and even if you think that that you won't like me, I promise you we will find something in common, because we all have something in common. Yeah. Everybody does.
Well, and just don't let all of this propaganda and all of this stuff make you believe in monsters under the bed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Let's be grown-ups and stop being scared of things that aren't real.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's a great place to end it. Thanks, Cody.
Well, thanks for joining us.
That's it for this week's dose of National Dysfunction.
If you learned something, got pissed off, or just laughed through the rage, do us a favor. Share this episode with someone who still believes that it can't happen here.
Follow us, subscribe, and hit us up on socials, because if you aren't at the table, you are on the menu. This is the Dissent Agenda. Stay informed, stay loud, and stay in the fight.